welcome to Classics with Christi. Yay! Today, I wanted to talk about, or for this segment, I wanted to talk about some movies they're Disney, but it's partnered with the studio Gibly. It's not actual anime movies, but the animation is very Japanese style. The main director was Hayao Miyazaki. I really hope I said that right because I have the utmost respect and adoration for him and everything that he does. I would feel bad if I said his name wrong. I'm talking about these kinds of movies. So all of these were classics from my childhood. I have Spirited Away, I have Kiki's Delivery Service, I have Howl's Moving Castle, and I have My Neighbor Totoro. I also have an edition, or a copy, Castle in the Sky. So these are my 5 main Studio Ghibli movies that I really love and will go and watch and rewatch on rainy days or days off. They remind me of my childhood kind of thing. So that's why they're part of Classics with Christi, because it's one of my classics, and I hope that other people share these classics with me, because if you don't, I really want you to be able to experience them because they're all great movies. The most classic one that really got me hooked on these movies was Kiki's Delivery Service. This was a real childhood movie for me. The other ones, the other Studio Ghibli movies, I kind of got into when I was a little bit older and could make my own viewing choices, I guess. Had my own money to spend on movies that I wanted to actually own. But Kiki's Delivery Service was one that they ran on Cartoon Network, and I remember VHS recording it and taking it to my daycare on movie day and being like, can we watch this one? It's so great, I love it so much, it's got a cat in it and he talks and he's so cute and Kiki's great. That was my impression of 7-year-old me. Obviously I haven't changed very much. I'm still pretty ditzy, because I sounded really ditzy. Kiki's Delivery Service is about a little girl. She's 13 years old, and she has to spend a year on her own in the city practicing her witch powers. She has, not actual witch powers, but practicing, being a witch. And so she can fly on a broomstick, and she goes out into the world. She just gets on her broomstick and goes out into the world and finds a town that she likes, and she's like, I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna get myself a place, and I'm gonna get myself a job, and I'm gonna use my witch powers, and I'm gonna start my own delivery service, because I have a broom and I can just fly wherever I need to go. So that's basically the plot for this movie. It's really adorable, and a few of these movies, more geared toward kids, don't really have very intricate or intriguing plot lines. Kiki's Delivery Service is about a little girl who flies around on a broomstick and has a sidekick talking cat. So this is actually a fairly interesting one. My Neighbor Totoro, I absolutely adore this movie. It's definitely geared closer to the kids because it's about this adorable forest spirit, the big gray cutie pie on the cover. And he's a forest spirit, and these 2 girls and their dad move out into the country, and he lives in this tree that it's this giant tree that's close to their house. And so the girls, the movie's basically about the girls going out into the forest and having fun little adventures and playing with the forest spirits and all that kind of stuff. So it's nothing super action-packed or anything like that, but it's still really adorable, and I really like it because I really like My Neighbor Totoro because it's slow moving, but it makes you appreciate nature a little bit more, I think, and it makes you appreciate the world that we live in, because it's just a movie, there's family, not drama, but there's different little things that go on in it, but other than that, it doesn't really have a very distinct plot line. It's kind of just a movie about these girls living their lives, and so I really like it, even though it's kind of slow. Howl's Moving Castle definitely does have a very intricate plot line, and so does Spirited Away. The other movie that I mentioned before, Castle in the Sky, definitely has a intriguing plot line, but at the same time it's still kind of slow. So that one I would put in the middle, geared like kind of towards kids because the music in it is a little softer, but there's still some good action scenes, and the ending, like at the end you really kind of get into it, you get sucked into it. You're just like, wait, who is she? Like, what's gonna happen? What's the kid gonna do? What's that guy gonna do? Like, there's a robot too, oh my gosh. So yeah, it's pretty good. All of these movies are fantastic. So, okay. But Spirited Away, I think a lot of people are really familiar with this one. It's about a girl who enters like this spirit world, and it's all of the different more Eastern kind of like Japanese, Chinese spirits. They have like a river spirit and a bunch of like different things kind of like that. So I really like these movies because they're not based on Western culture, and I like to be able to have something where I can kind of go out of my comfort zone. That's part of the intrigue that I find with them. Like, I don't like to watch anime because it's hard for me to keep up with, because the subbed versions are always so terrible in English, and the dubbed version, or no, the dubbed versions are always terrible in English, and the subbed versions it's hard for me to keep up with because I have a really hard time reading subtitles. Like, I can't get through a movie that has subtitles because I know that I'll miss something important, and it'll be like, okay, well, it's not really that fun for me to watch it because I can't keep up. Like, I have dyslexia, it's just hard for me. It's just difficult for me. I feel like that's another reason that I like these movies so much, is because they're really good dubbed. It's American voice actors, and they do a really, really good job, and it just makes it a much more enjoyable experience for me. So this is like my anime kind of thing. Like, Brianna has her Brianime. This is like my anime because it's the kind of stuff that I can keep up with. So back to the plot line. There's a bunch of spirits, and she enters this spirit world, and she gets trapped in this bathhouse by this terrible witch who's like, I'm gonna hold you hostage and you're gonna be my slave and work for me. And she's just like, don't really like that idea, so I'm gonna try and escape. And she meets this dragon, and he's great, and it's adorable. But it's another movie about a young lady who really kind of is forced out of her shell and has to engage in this new world that she has no idea how it works or what's going on or anything like that, and she really just goes for it, and she escapes, and she saves her parents, and she is great, and it's a great movie. Howl's Moving Castle! Oh, Howl's Moving Castle. Love it. I just love this movie so much. And one of the things that I actually really enjoy about Studio Ghibli is that most of their main characters are female. So that's pretty awesome as well, because Howl's Moving Castle is named after the male lead. The male lead is Howl, and he's a wizard, and he has enchanted this giant pile of garbage, basically, to move itself from place to place out in the wastes, out away from like any cities or anything like that. But the people in the cities still know about Howl and his moving castle, but most of them are scared of him because they're like, he's a wizard, ooh, better steer clear of that magic shit, like, we just normal muggles. And this girl who's totally like, they even put a scene in where it's like her and her sister is so charismatic and gorgeous and beautiful and fantastic, and she's kind of just like, meh, I'm here, like, I'm doing what I gotta do, you know, I'm a working girl, not all that pretty, I'm kind of just like a little more like homely, a little humble. The main character, that ends up being the main character, and she's definitely not the kind of person that you would picture as like a main character. Most girls that they like put in leading roles are like charismatic and strong and blah blah and all that kind of stuff. And Studio Ghibli doesn't really have female leading characters that are like that, and I kind of like it. I like the fact that it's the more underdog kind of girls that they choose as their like stars, so that's pretty nice. But she gets cursed by another witch, and she turns into this old lady, and she's literally It's not the worst. I was gonna say it's the worst. It's not the worst. It makes the whole movie really funny. But she's this old lady for the entire movie. The movie starts out and you're like, oh, she's not like super pretty, but like she could, there could be something there. Like, you know, we could work with that. And then she turns into this 80-year-old woman and you're just like, oh, at least she's funny. Like, at least she's got a good sense of humor and a good personality. Oh, God. Like, I just sounded so petty right there. I really do admire her as a character, no matter what age she is. Anyway, there's definitely a lot of witchcraft and wizardry that goes on in Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle that doesn't really happen so much in Kiki's Delivery Service or My Neighbor Totoro. So I would say that those are the more interesting if you're just looking for a couple of these movies to watch. But if you like stuff that's a little bit slower and has a really good message, and it's just, they make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. At least they make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And that's, I think, why I like to curl up on the couch with a cup of hot chocolate and a blanket and watch these movies on like a rainy day or a day off or something like that, because they just make me feel happy. And if I'm looking for something a little more like, ooh, yeah, what's going on? Like, I'll watch Howl's Moving Castle or Castle in the Sky or Spirited Away. But if I'm looking for something a little more like relaxing, I guess, I would definitely go for Kiki's Delivery Service or My Neighbor Totoro. Pretty much everything that Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli do is fantastic. The one thing that I personally, and I might get hate for it, the one that I would personally try to avoid would be Ponyo, and I feel like it's just because they were trying too hard with that. Like, at that point, I feel like Disney was kind of pushing for it, and they were like, come on, like, everything that you do is great. You should make a more Americanized, like a more westernized kind of thing, like with a kind of different plot line than you normally do, and we'll add like poppy music, and it'll be super fun and great, and blah blah blah, and it's just like, let them do what they do. You know what I mean? Don't try and push them into something else because it's going to make you more money. Let them do what they do because they do it so well. So that would be the one thing that I would say to try and avoid. Studio Ghibli films are fantastic and I absolutely love them. It's part of my childhood. One of my classics is Studio Ghibli. So I hope you guys check it out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. Thanks, bye!